Our meeting tomorrow morning, though,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Listen, quiet. I guess we're hot. Well, we're ready to go. We're ready. All right. I guess we're hot. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the regular scheduled business meeting of the Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees to order. It is 7:30. Call the meeting to order. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, once again, welcome those of you watching at home, those of you watching in the future, those with us tonight. Begin with additions, deletions to the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, I have 2 deletions from the agenda, one being the presentation from MERS. We're working on having that rescheduled due to some conflicts. And the other item is action item number 1, the Island Fest fireworks contract. We're pulling that because we're awaiting some important information.
Okay. All right, we have a motion to make those 2 deletions.
Support.
Seconded by Clerk Ranka. Any discussion on that? Not much to discuss if they're not here. Those in favor of deleting those 2 items, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered? Okay, with that, I'll like a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Moved by Clerk Ranka. Second. Okay, seconded by Trustee Budney. Those in favor of approving the agenda as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. The agenda stands amended. With that, I'm going to request we add a presentation from, I'm not going to request, I'm just going to invite our state representative, Mr. Pat Somerville, to give a brief presentation on his part. So, Mr. Somerville, floor is yours, and welcome to Grosse Ile Township. Welcome back.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. It's budget season in Lansing, so I'm sure everyone's been paying attention. We've had some good news, obviously, to report from the state level, whether it be increased jobs, reduced unemployment, but also, of course, a lot of the word is what's going to be done with the surplus. So we're looking at potentially about $1 billion in a surplus account that we're looking at in terms of really it's I call it a 4 and 5 step stool. Over the years, really we built up our rainy day account. We're upwards in the area of about $700 million. It was about $2 million when we took office just a little over 3 years ago. So we're looking at potentially putting some more money in that. Word has it that if we get that into the $820 million range, that our credit rating will get bumped another position. So that's obviously good for long-term costs for our taxpayers. The other aspect is roads. I think everybody realizes, especially now with all the weather that we've had, that we're already starting to see the result of the harsh winter that we've had. So it's looking at right now, we put about $200 million in it last time. We're going to increase that to $250 million this time. So it'll be 200 ongoing plus an additional 50. That's what the proposal looks like right now. The other aspect is going to be tax relief for our citizens, and right now that's going back and forth. That could be anywhere between the homestead tax credit or an income tax rollback. So right now that's going to be debated. Some of us think that we can do both of them if we can simply make government a little bit more efficient up there at the state level. The other thing is paying down debt. That's another big aspect. We're going to be dumping approximately $270 million into paying down and keeping the cost level for the MIPSers, which is the school teacher retirement fund, because unfortunately we saw ourselves with about a $17 billion unfunded liability that we had to address, and that's ongoing, making sure that more money is not coming out of our classrooms and it's going in and it's being spent in the classrooms on our students. So those seem to be the areas that we're looking at in terms of spending the additional money. If anybody has any questions, I'd love to open it up. I could probably answer stuff better than just trying to hash out a bunch of talking points.
We usually don't do question and answer. If you want to
All right.
stick around until after the meeting,
All right,
though, it shouldn't be long.
Well, very good. Well, and I also have a tribute to present, and if I could, at this time, bring up the police and fire chief and the members of the board. No, that's all right. That's all right. Okay. Yeah. No. Well, very good. Well, we all know that Grosse Ile is obviously a great place to not only live but raise a family. And obviously, recently, Groseal was awarded as the safest city in the state of Michigan. So tonight, I would like to present a tribute to the Township of Groseal. I'd like to congratulate not only the police chief and the fire chief, but the elected officials and all the residents of the Groseal Township for their hard work in keeping this township safe. So, on behalf of myself, Governor Snyder, and Senator Patrick Colbeck, I'd like to congratulate everybody here in Groseal Township for their commitment to public safety. And congratulations, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Somerville. And again, don't stick around if you like. Certainly love to talk to you afterwards, and love to have you here more often. Okay, with that, let's move on to consent agenda. Mr. Treasurer.
Sure, I'm working on it. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda 14-010, which are the minutes of the January 27th regular meeting, and approve the check register dated February 7th, 2014.
Support.
Okay, motion by Treasurer Van Oss, supported by Trustee Budney. Any discussion from the board on the consent agenda items? All right, with none offered, those in favor of approving the consent agenda as published, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. The consent agenda stands approved. With no action items, we can move right into the clerk's report.
Thank you, Mr.
Clerk Rank?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just a couple of items to report on. There's a Police Commission meeting tomorrow for our monthly meeting. Next Planning Commission is scheduled for March the 1st, and part of the clerk's office updates for the year and mandates, or not mandates, but continuous improvements for the upcoming year is to do some minutes training with all of our commissions, so that we have more of our commissions posting and providing their minutes on a timely manner. So more of that to follow.
Okay. Thank you, Clerk Rank. Mr. Treasurer.
Certainly, this won't take long. We have a Commerce Park meeting on Monday the 17th, I believe it is. A couple issues we're going to be dealing with regard to some bids we got back, so it should be a pretty interesting meeting. For the month of December, Groseal Township had a total of $17,628,590 invested in various accounts at a rate of 0.12%. There's a current breakdown of all of these investments and where they lie at groseal.com and the Treasurer's website. Please don't hesitate if you want a hard copy of it, see a net or someone in the Treasurer's office. We can give that to you. Groseal winter property taxes are due this Friday, February 14th, without penalty. A 3% penalty is added to any unpaid winter tax bills after that date to March 1st. Then on that date, unpaid taxes, summer and winter, become delinquent and must be paid at the county with further penalty. If you cannot pay your taxes by the due date of February 14th, again, that's this Friday, there's a deferment available for those who qualify. Approved deferment applications will defer the due date to April 30th, 2014, but must be submitted to the Treasurer's office by the 14th. Pet tags are also available at Township Hall. The fee is now $12. Be sure to provide proof of vaccination for your pet. And I have nothing else.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Move on to our trustees and liaison reports. Ms. Posiask.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I have 4 items. The first one is a bit personal, but I want to thank publicly the Groseal Fire Department and the Groseal Police Department for the superb care they gave to my wife when she had the spill on the concrete. Susan made a great 5-point landing and bruised herself up terribly. Thank God there was no broken bones, all the results from the tests were negative. She somewhat resembles a raccoon tonight, and she took a good beating. But her comment to me was, "Do you think they took special care of me because they knew me?" And my first reaction was, yeah, and then my second reaction was, no, they take care of everybody on Groseal like that. And so, gentlemen, please pass on to your contingents my deep appreciation. Second item, thank you and congratulations to Lorinda and John. I'm very pleased to see those interim appointments. I think you will do a great deal to keep some continuity, and I look forward to working with you and with that department all I can. Number 3, daddy-daughter dance. I had the privilege of being the bartender, and I was pouring unmixed drinks as fast as I could Friday night. But Mr. Rooney, another stellar performance. And it just goes to show you what this bunch of township employees are. We're blessed to have you guys. We are. Thank you. And thank you especially, Tim. Finally, the chili and brownie contest is this Saturday, and I have a few tickets in case anyone's interested. 6 o'clock at the VFW. We'd love to see you all there. At the end of mine.
Thank you, Mr. Posiask. Mr. Budney.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Tomorrow is the DPS meeting, and among other things, we are going to be reviewing and recommending our operation and capital budgets. So something, if you have nothing else to do, look in. On the 25th is a ZBA meeting, and we do have one this month. Other than that, I did happen to see a couple articles in the Eel Camera regarding ordinance review and our snow removal, and I would only say that if you want to know what's going on, and I would really suggest that people do a little homework before they go out and write letters. But my extension is 245. Please call me. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about either one of those items and let you know what's going on. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Budney. Mr. Malvesto.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This past Saturday, Tails Organization put on an affair at the Pilot House. It was called Chicken Waffles and a Helping of Blues, or Serving of Blues. It was well attended. In fact, it was sold out. Howling Mercy was the band that played. They were awesome that night. I think a good time was had by all. And Julie Cordes and her band of helpers put on a great party. It was well attended. Like I say, it was sold out. Supervisor Loftus was there. I think he'll agree with me. It was a great evening. Thank you, Julie, and for all the volunteers and all the hard work you put into it. Tim, if you can help me here, was it the senior dinner or lunch?
Lunch.
The senior lunch has been rescheduled to this coming Thursday.
When?
I'm sorry. I'm going to let Tim say this because he's got it all down.
Yes, the senior midwinter luncheon was supposed to be last week, but the weather pounded us again. So we rescheduled this Wednesday at 12:30, and we're getting quite a few calls. So I think it's going to turn out, even though we had to cancel it.
Thanks for
so
that.
So that begins at 12:30, and there's still tickets.
Great. Now we have a fire commission meeting this coming Thursday, and I think that ends all I have to say. Other than Representative Somerville, thank you. You're always a breath of fresh air when you come and talk, speak to us. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Malvesto. And Mrs. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just a couple comments. I'll keep this brief. Next Communications Commission meeting is this Wednesday at 7 p.m. The next Island Fest Commission meeting is Wednesday the 19th at 7 p.m. And finally, I would like to remind everybody to like us on Facebook. We have not only the Township Facebook page, but also the Island Fest Facebook page, so like them both. Our goal is to get to 1,000 fans, hopefully in the next couple of months. We're close, but we could use you, and it's a great place and a great resource for information. And that is it.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. All right. Now it's a couple odds and ends here, some good, some not so good. Administrative stuff. Township office will be closed Monday. It's President's Day, so February 17th. Township's going to take Monday off. Be back to work 8 o'clock Tuesday morning. Carol's already planning the 2014 Island-wide garage sale, so start getting your stuff ready that you want to sell. I think hopefully we'll have another dump of the junk before then. And the stuff you want to sell, we'll get ready for the Island-wide garage sale. It'll be Saturday, August 22nd and 23rd of 2014. And believe it or not, there are people already lining up, signing up for that. It's just becoming a bigger and bigger event. So it'll be fun. Coming soon, the annual meeting will be held on Monday, March 24th, beginning at 6:30 with a reception. And then the meeting will begin at 7:15, followed by a regular business meeting at 8 p.m. This is the Township's chance to thank all the volunteers, make up our commissions and committees, and work very hard for our island community. By the way, any resident interested in serving on a commission or committee, we do have openings available, and you can contact the administration office, that's Carol, or the clerk's office, which is usually Sharon or Brian, and they will provide you with the information, what's available, what the requirements are, and a form to fill out. More good news, girls basketball are playing Flat Rock right now. Don't know what the score is, but they are playing. Should they win, they will be co-champs for Huron League, and we have a father here who, well, we don't have a score yet, so no spoiler alerts. We don't have a score, but we'll just kind of silently cheer them on. What else do we have? Playing for co-champs. Girls competitive cheer is doing very well, and they're getting into regionals and districts very soon, so let's wish them well. Okay, that was the good stuff, and Mr. Budney alluded to what I consider the bad stuff. I can't put this any clearer. The letter that was published in the Eel Camera was as factually inaccurate as it could possibly be, and I don't know the purpose behind that, but nothing in that was accurate. So I'm going to try to get the original article that I'd written back last September that she refers to, and the title of the article my title was Island-Wide Curb Appeal. I don't remember what heading it had in the paper, but again, you won't see a comparison between what the letter writer complained about and what my article stated. I have not generated any new ordinances. We're looking at enforcing our standing ones. I'm asking for your input if you want to see our ordinance changed. We held an open house, well attended right here, and of the, I'm going to say close to 40 people there that evening, everyone was in favor of more enforcement of our storage / blight / property maintenance ordinances, and hereafter I'm just going to refer to them as good neighbor ordinances. Be a good neighbor and store your boats and stuff properly, keep your yard maintained, the whole island will be better. And we still couldn't find the one that precluded detached garages because it just didn't exist. So again, I'm going to try to get my original article published on the website, and realistically though, it's not a big concern of ours right now. We're trying to get through this mountain of snow and the icy roads and what we're going to do when this thaws out. So we have priorities. We only have so many days and so many dollars. Our priorities are getting through this winter blast as safely and as effectively as possible. So again, if you have a question on an ordinance, you can call me. I've got to have the same number in the phone book for the last 27 years. You can call me at my office. You can call me at home. You can call Tony Gray at extension 240. He'll help you. Any one of the trustees can point you in the right direction. We're trying to run a good township here. We're not trying to pull any fast ones on anybody. And that concludes my report for tonight. I'll turn it over to Township Manager, Mr. Riem, for more follow-up.
Good evening. A few brief items to report on. We did hear from a MERS representative, and they did confirm for our following meeting on the 24th. Mr. Clark, $1,348. O'Reilly Rancilio with the legal fees. Few brief items I'd like to add on the snow. As we stated in the newspaper article, the township is supplementary to Wayne County. As everyone knows, we pay Wayne County a premium for priority service on our main roads. And from a public safety standpoint, if we determine that it's necessary to do the side streets for public safety purposes, we do so. And as I said, we've done that 3 times, well, 4 now this year. And that is the type of thing that we do to keep this as the safest community. It's one of the many. So in general, that's the thumbnail sketch of that program. If you would like details, as Mr. Budney offered, please contact him or my office, and we can get in greater discussion or details. And I'd like to report to the board, I've had a few follow-up meetings with Sharkey's, and we have the framework for a lease agreement that we'll be bringing at the board in 2 weeks. So with that, I have nothing further to add.
Thank you, Mr. Im.
Thank you.
Dale's article in the Camera was pretty well descriptive of what goes on between us and Wayne County, who has responsibility for what. So it's still available online, I believe, if you don't have the paper copy. So those of you who have questions about who clears the roads and why and who's paying for it, it's pretty well encapsulated in that article. Again, we're doing our best from a safety standpoint to make your roads accessible. With that, open up to public comment.
Okay. I know you. I know
Mr.
you don't like to go
Asardi.
first. I know you like to go. I know you know.
We paid Woody $1,200.
Mr. Asardi.
I'd just like to report to the board, as you all know, from my absence last meeting, I was at the Michigan Township Association annual conference. On the 28th, I participated in the Legal Institute for Township Attorneys, which is basically the township attorneys that are there that attend. We get together for the day. We have conferences on various topics that all townships are faced with, and it's anywhere from a class to an open forum and a lot of discussions. The one thing I'll report to you is the issues that we're facing here on Groseal are very similar to most other townships throughout the state of Michigan, and the benefits that we have here are actually quite better than a lot of places are doing. I think we're seeing some things that are on a more positive note than what I was a little surprised by some of the comments from some of the township attorneys about what was going on, what was happening. But I'd just like to report to you in that regard, it's a very worthwhile event. It's a great opportunity for us to hear what's going on with the rest of the state of Michigan. But it's there if anybody has any questions about what took place for that whole week. Let me know. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Asardi. I was really impressed that our township attorney did take the time to brave the weather and get locked away in those snowy Arctic conditions and slug it out with other attorneys. I spent the better part of the week there. Time well spent. I just couldn't take notes fast enough, and as Mr. Asardi said, some of the problems we face are the problems faced by other townships, but I think we're doing better than most. Mr. Clark, do you still wish to speak?
Oh, sure.
You know the rules.
Yeah, I got 30 minutes.
You'll be pretty lonely the last 27.
That's okay. All right, here we go. This is an article out of the internet. Saul David Alinsky, January 30th, 1909 to June 12th, 1972, was the American community organizer and writer. He is generally considered to be the founder and modern community organization. He authored the book, Rules for Radicals. You should be able to find him in a library or Amazon. In this book, he details 8-level control that must be attained to create social state. First one is health care. Control health care, you control the people. Poverty. Increase the poverty level as high as possible. Poor people are easier to control, and they will not fight back as long as they are provided everything they are required to live. 3, debt. Increase the debt to an unstandable level. In this way, taxes must increase, and this will produce more poverty. Gun control. Remove the ability for citizens to defend themselves from the government. In that way, you'll be able to create police state. Welfare. Take control of every aspect of their lives, food, housing, and income. Education. Take control of what the children read and what they are taught in school. Religion. Remove the belief in the God from the government and the schools. 8. class welfare, divide the people into the wealthy and the poor. This will cause more discontent, and it will be easier to tax the wealthy and support the poor. Does any of this sound familiar? Obama presidency was not an accident. It was carefully planned. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark. Other public comment? Sorry you missed most of it, Mr. Delphi. Okay, with no other public comment offered, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, moved by, that came awfully quickly.
Or supported.
Okay, moved and supported. I'll let, who was the move? Okay, Budney, motion Budney, support Ranka. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, none offered. I will call the meeting adjourned at, let's make it, 7:55. And, we'll leave the cameras running, though. If you have any questions for Representative Somerville, we can have it recorded. The business meeting's adjourned. Question and answer from Mr. Somerville. You can take the mic again. And, I don't know, Pat, I think you lost him.
I think people are stunned.
Thanks again for coming out tonight.
Absolutely. No, that's good to see you.
I have a question. They were talking about the overtime.
Angie, okay, thank you for cutting. We're off the air.